So this message was actually prepared for the youth, so you're going to get a small taste of what we go through upstairs. Brother Charles, like I said, is erring on the side of caution, asked me to fill in for it. I'm going to be reading from Psalms 118, starting in verse 5. And the question that I had for the youth tonight is, who do we really put our trust in? And, you know, we sometimes put it in the wrong places. There's times we put it maybe in other humans. There's times we may put trust in ourselves. There may be times we put it in friends. There's maybe times we put it in the government, which is never a good thing. So let's see what the passage of the scripture has to say. So starting in verse 5, it says, "When hard pressed, I cried to the Lord. He brought me into a spacious place. The Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? The Lord is with me. He is my helper. I look in triumph over my enemies." Verse 8, it said, "It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in humans. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than trust in princes. All the nations surround me, but in the name of the Lord I cut them down. They surround me on every side, but in the name of the Lord I cut them down. They swarmed around me like bees, but they were consumed as quickly as burning thorns. In the name of the Lord I cut them down. I was pushed back and about to fall, but the Lord helped me. The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation." So the question is, again, who do we put our trust in? You know, there's times I find myself putting trust in myself. Hey, I can do this. It don't ever work out too good. I can tell you from personal experience. There's times that, you know, we put it in maybe a family member. That family member, I trust that family member is going to come through. You know, I've got a project that needs to happen, or something needs to be done, or whatever the case may be. And then that family member, you lose that trust. Maybe it's a friend. You know, there's times we have that friend that we trust to say, hey, I got this secret, I got this thing going on. I really need to trust you not to tell anyone. I need to trust in you that you can be there for me, be there to help me, be there to guide me and lead me through this. And then that friend, no faster than you walk away from them, goes and they tell that secret, right? And then not everybody knows about that situation. But we're told just a few verses ahead of that, the Lord is with me. He is my helper. If we trust God and we say, hey, God, I've got this situation going on, Lord, I need some help. If we're saved, if we're not saved, He may answer that prayer and He may help us, depending on what His will is. Not everything we ask for, you know. The youth asked one time, can we pray to God to give us a Ferrari? Well, I think we've all prayed for that Ferrari, but that never happens, or, you know, $1 million or whatever. That maybe God doesn't trust us with that, because we don't trust Him enough. When we're at school, we trust that the school's going to take care of us, right? They're not going to let anybody come in bad to hurt us. They're not going to feed us food that's maybe really laced up with poison or something like that. That's a lie. It's not. It's not. It may not taste good, but it's not poison.
Actually, I got food poisoning the other day.
You got that at your house. But if we trust in the Lord, that things we need help with, He's either going to provide that help, He's going to provide that person, He's going to provide that thing that we need. There's a lot of times when youth may come up to me and say, hey, Brother Stephen, I got this going on. And the first thing I tell them is, okay, is this something I can share with Brother Charles, or is this something that, you know, it needs to be between you and God? And, you know, they direct me which way they want it to go. And, you know, it's a tough situation to be in as a youth pastor, to have a kid come to you and say, hey, I trust in you that you're going to not share this, but I've got this going on at home, or I've got this addiction, or I've got this that's happening, and I don't know the answer. But we're told, it started again in verse 5. When hard pressed, I cried. When we were down at that lowest point, we eventually had to come to the conclusion that we needed to trust something, somebody, and that trust is, if we put that trust in God, those situations, He will reach down and pick us up. The Lord is with me. I mean, if we're saved and we have Jesus on our side, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing that He can't do that I can't trust in Him to do to get us to a situation. You know, it's, again, I think there's times when youth, adults, kids, that we think, oh, we can get ourselves out of this, and there's no way we can. There's no way. God has put you in a spot that He needs you as low as He can possibly get you, so He can take the honor and glory for what He's about to do in your life. There was many years ago, when I was a junior in high school, and an individual by the name of Luke Woodham come in, and he shot that school up. He killed his mother before he came there. He then shoots and kills 2 girls, and then shoots and injures 7 other people. I'm the person standing there when he runs by me coming into school. That could have been me. It could have been my friend I was standing there talking to. It could have been my wife. She was in there with us at the time. At that point in my life is when I realized I had to put my trust in somebody, and I needed to trust somebody to help me through this. And that's the challenge that I have for each and every one of us here tonight is, number one, who do we put our trust in? And if it's not God, and God first and God only, we need to look at that. We need to make sure that, number one, as Brother Charles says, we need to wrap it up, tie a bow on it, whatever we got to do, nail it down today. We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised anything other than if we believe and trust in Jesus Christ and His finished work on the cross, that when we pass away, we'll be staring at Him when it's all said and done. And that should be enough trust and enough things to understand that if I can trust Him that much to lead me to salvation and lead me to a place where there's no more hurting, no more dying, no more anything, I don't have to worry about anything, I don't have to trust on mankind to take care of something. All I have to do is trust Jesus. That should be more than enough to satisfy me. So at this time, I'm going to ask if Brother Gary come, and I'm just going to open it up. If y'all want to come down and pray, if you need to come and talk to me, if you feel better, comfortable talking to the young ones, talking to Miss Lynn, Brother Steve, whichever. But understand that if we're trusting in man, we're trusting in friends, we're trusting in whatever. If it's not, we're trusting in Jesus. We need to nail that down today. Okay.